when their guy plays some games.
Alright, y'all, we are back with more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are getting into more of the final trial and getting into the second part of Judge Shigoku's testimony. We're going to find out what really happened in the cabin, hopefully, with Gregson. Apparently, we're going to get some bad news. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an Ippen sow throw, though he couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The inspector was nearly killed having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. Was clearly killed, not nearly. Sorry, I have part of the screen a little bit covered, right on the bottom. So, we clearly know that that's false because we saw the bullet hole in the room, but we also don't have a piece of evidence that points to that bullet hole. So how are we going to do this? I don't know. A common jiu-jitsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. So, Ryu, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? Why? The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there. I have no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord. But if this testimony holds, Judge Goku will be deemed to have no involvement in this case. Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination. Slap. Sorry, my lord, the defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that. You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten. In that case, proceed, Mr. Ryu. Here we go. Time to continue. Time to press, and press, and press.
Hold it!
Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let your killer pass, you mean? Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course. He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though. He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced. But the man accompanying him would have had two sword slung around his waist. You mean me? Who else? Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head. The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned and I immediately disembarked the ship. Certainly, all I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back in my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion? That's right, none whatsoever.
Hold it!
Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson? Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name, and there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners. By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you. That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction, but I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before. Believe it or not, most of us haven't. Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself.
Hold it!
Even though the man had a gun, that was a very brave move, wasn't it? My throw is faster than a bullet, I can assure you. Surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it? Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape. The outstanding guard does it again. Luckily, there aren't many situations I can't get out of using a quick throw. Last one? No, two more.
Hold it!
The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked. Preferable to the man's head being pulled off for a spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jiu-jitsu throw. Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall. Ha 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 ha. What are you talking about? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, isn't it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. I bet that the surprise that they're going to have for us, that Iris and Sholmes are going to have for us, is a photo. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin.
Hold it!
But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive. Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling. What? If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing. Well, then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body. How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think? In the trunk. He would fit in the trunk. Well, yes, that's true, but all passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. That's killed that idea then. But perhaps not. Mrs. Sato? We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative. Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony with your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objections. State your amended testimony now.
Hold it!
Press on this. We know that there's the fridges. There's an idea. Think about it, stripling. All passengers and crew disembarked at the same time and passed through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry. We met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel. So you did. Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time? There were all the bags that guy had to carry. What? No. So we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain. Unless, of course, they developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B. Funny you should say that. This harebrained invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Ryu. Yes, of course. The defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say. We got him. So that's his story. Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say Mr. Ryu must have been murdered there, do we? Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one? And the fact is, Inspector Grex's body was found in the little room on Fresno Street. He really was killed in Judge Shigoku's cabin. The body would have to be moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been some special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit then. That could be a fatal realization, I think, Mr. Ryu. Alright, let's look at this. Let's look at our evidence. It would probably be in this one. So let's look at our evidence here. Not gonna be in the telegram. Won't be in this. Is there any other new things to look at with this? No. I wonder if it could have happened in this time. I wonder if we can do this again. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, Gregson's trunk. I wonder if he could have fit in there, but he had stuff in there, but... That's interesting, and it has blood on it.
Objection!
I guess it's true, they did say that everything's inspected. Let's look again. Alright, past the trunk. The Sogi papers. Not there. This photograph. Presumably nothing. This trunk is here still. Man, why do we have this?
Objection!
Yeah, because it has a picture of his trunk, and he just brought that scene too. Why else would we have that photo? There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true. And what's that supposed to mean? Far from being impossible for you to do, the transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do. What are you talking about, Ryu? As well as being a judge, Mr. Joku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. I don't remember that, but I believe it. Yeah, they did bring that up. Interesting. Yeah. I presume you recall this, Judge Shigoku. Wow, was his body right there the whole time? That's sick. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Ryu, surely you're not suggesting... I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrival from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Shigoku's trunk. Order in court. I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk, which we already know it can, and that would also explain why Gregson's watch thing was found in that trunk. It could, because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Shigoku? But inside his trunk? How horrifying! And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body. I don't have to listen to this nonsense. Dr. Gori, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged that there are signs that the steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator. Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far. Yes, I'm sure they are, but one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages, and the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikitoba told me about it only yesterday while at Joshigoku. However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already. Joshigoku, please stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond? Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there? Why ever not? Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical. The actual scene of the crime. Prosecution stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Barak Van Ziek shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling. The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly? I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here. How can you say that? Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you? Prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. What contradicts that? Let's look at all this stuff again. Autopsy. Huh. Huh. Man, I really think it's still just this component again, but I don't think it is. It's gotta be one of our new pieces of evidence, though, right? There's blood on the side, but it was removed from the scene. It has a slash on it. I think I'm gonna try this anyway, because I'm probably gonna try it eventually anyway, but... Wow, he instantly shuts me down. Doesn't even give me a chance to say a word. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. What's the next thing to try, though? Come on. Yeah, we'll try to present the correct one. Okay, so we have something that contradicts that he was shot on Fresno Street. Can we try doing this? I feel like that would be a waste, right? I'm gonna try it anyway. Just tell us. Just tell us. We might be approaching a fail state, but I think we have a pretty short run back if we do fail here. It's okay. Okay, what else could it be? Anything else with this? No. Nothing else with this telegram. The sword? No. The sword did slash this, but... Bum 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 da na na. Passport. I don't know why there would be anything here for it. Not gonna be any other evidence with this photo. Probably not the pocket watch. We would have already found it probably if it was with the photo. Right? Can we just do the autopsy report? This was the weapon that wasn't missing any bullets, right?
Take that!
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck here. Wouldn't be this. Not that. Don't think it'd be the evacuation drill anymore, because we already did that. I still don't think I've tried the trunk. Did we actually explain the sword slash? I don't know if we did.
Take that!
We failed. We failed. We did. Sad day. We'll have to try again. It happens. I don't know what it would be though, you know? That's fine. We'll try again. We should have a short run back, right? Boo hiss. Boo hiss. It's okay. Retry. Now, is it just this? It's just this part. Okay. I still have no idea. Look at the words here. The body appears to be tightly curled up. I wonder if that's what it is. It doesn't make sense, but it's weird that it has that there when we just learned about the trunk stuff. Let's try that. Oh my god, it worked. A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed? Yes, but the point is the posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal. No, instant. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that is flawed. What? According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Yeah, so he was in that position from being inside the trunk. Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now. You're suggesting the inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor from the inside of a large travel trunk. You're quite right. The shape of the body looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space. That's insane. That's such a stretch. Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood. Present my trunk? I refuse. What? On what grounds? I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations. In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood in your trunk? I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that allow me to... At this moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Let's go, Ryu. Give him that resolve. Nothing is more important than the truth. We frickin' got him, dude. Dead to rights. Order in court. Well, Mr. Joku, what's it to be? You can't be serious. You did it? Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Asogi? What? Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Haha! Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense. What? You? Dear God, outrageous! So it was you. You admit to inspect... No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As a judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else. You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man? As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted the mission to take the inspector's life. Oh, he's gonna turn this on Kazuma. Oh! That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Asogi. You? Yeah. I love that Ryu and Kazuma are like on sides, you know? I never thought you'd stoop to this, Shishiro Jigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, prosecutor, Kazuma Asogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could put the crime on me, did you? Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question. Yes, on an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't. So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more. I don't believe this. Counsel for the defense, what is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi. This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer is right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well, the defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process. It is, no question. Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. Interesting. So present what you have, counsel. I don't know. I feel like it has to do something with what actually happened on the ship, so it has to be like one of these three. Or maybe the sword. I think it has to do with the timing, though. Right? Because it was such a short period. I feel like we learned that Kazuma stayed somewhere instead.
Take that!
This itinerary... Oh, was I right? That was a lucky guess. My lord, this is conclusive proof. An itinerary? How does that prove anything? Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant. What? Why? On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin. Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate. So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary. Yeah, we already know this. Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far. But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings. What did he say? He was on the ship. He wasn't on the ship, which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing. We got him. We absolutely got him. No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all. What do you mean? The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the... No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma? As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof. We got him. There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer. The music is insane here too. As a common man, you killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it? It was that damned trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began. Oh God. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. I knew I had to do with the trial 10 years ago. I mean, that was obvious, but... Yeah. Oh, that hurt my throat. That power. It's over. My life is over. Is that the end of the game? Surely there's more. I guess he might give us a breakdown of what happened. British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan, a Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand. And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. We're actually going to stop here. We're already over time. We're going to find out exactly what happened. Next time, we're going to get through this monologue of great stuff. But we got the truth of who killed Gregson, which is great. It was Judge Shigoku, which is insane. But yeah, next time we're going to conclude this. And yeah, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all are amazing. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others. I'll see you next time. Peace out.